Captain June Kim stared at the large screen in front of him. The blue and green Earth hung in the darkness of space. Around it, red dots marked the alien ships. There were hundreds of them. Day 90 of the blockade, June said into his recorder. No change in Vorn ship positions. From his small base on the dark side of the moon, June had watched the aliens arrive 3 months ago. They came without warning. First 10 ships, then 50, then hundreds. Big, dark ships shaped like arrowheads. They formed a net around Earth. Nothing could leave. Nothing could enter. The room was cold and quiet. Only the soft beep of machines broke the silence. June pulled his jacket tighter and took a sip of his coffee. It was his 4th cup today. Sleep did not come easy these days. Computer, zoom in. On Sector 7, he ordered. The screen changed to show 5 Vorn ships. They moved in a pattern like a slow dance. June had watched this dance for weeks now. The aliens never broke formation. They never responded to messages. They just waited. The door behind him opened with a hiss. Lieutenant Bay entered, carrying a tablet. "Captain, you have a call from Earth. It's Dr. Park again." June nodded. "Put her through." The face of Dr. Suji Park appeared on a side screen. Her eyes looked tired, but they still had that fire that June remembered from their school days. "June, I think we found something," she said. Her voice sounded excited even through the poor connection. "What is it, Suji?" June asked, sitting up. "Straighter. The piece of Vorn technology we recovered from Mars last year, we finally got it working." She held up something that looked like a small black stone with lines of blue light running through it. "And? It's not a weapon like we thought. It's some kind of receiver. It picks up signals but not radio or any kind we use. It's sensitive to quantum patterns." June frowned. "What does that mean?" "I'm not sure yet, but I think this is how they talk to each other across their fleet. And maybe," she paused, looking around as if to check if anyone was listening, "maybe how their shields work too." June's heart beat faster. The Vorn shields were what made them so dangerous. Earth weapons could not touch them. 3 weeks ago, the military had fired missiles at the alien ships. The missiles had just disappeared when they hit the invisible shields. Like they never existed. "Have you told Admiral Day?" June asked. Suji's face darkened. "Yes. He didn't think it was important. Said to focus on finding weak spots in their ships, not wasting time on how they talk." That sounded like Admiral Day. The old man only believed in guns and bombs. Bigger guns, bigger bombs. That was his answer to everything. "Keep working on it, Suji. I think you're onto something." She nodded. "I will. Oh, I almost forgot to ask, how is your sister? Is Mina still on the moon with you?" "Yes, she's at the colony. They need musicians there too to keep people's spirits up." "Good. Give her my best," Suji said, then looked over her shoulder. "I have to go. We'll talk soon." The screen went dark. June stared at it for a moment, then turned back to the main screen. The red dots continued their slow dance around Earth. Mina Kim played the last note of the song. The small crowd in the moon colony's common room clapped. It wasn't much, just 50 people sitting on chairs and cushions. But the sound filled the room. "Thank you," Mina said with a small bow. "I'll play one more before I go." She closed her eyes and let her fingers find the keys on the piano. This song was her own. She had written it while watching Earth from the colony's big window, a small blue dot hanging in space surrounded by unwelcome guests. As she played, the room grew quiet. Even the children stopped moving. The music was sad but had hope in it too. Like Earth right now, trapped but not beaten. When she finished, no one clapped right away. They sat in silence, feeling the music. Then slowly, they began to clap. Young man approached her after the show. "That was beautiful," he said. "I'm Lieutenant Han from Communications." Mina smiled. "Thank you, Lieutenant. Please call me Tay." He had a kind face. "That last song, what was it called?" "It doesn't have a name yet," Mina admitted. "I'm still working on it." "It reminded me of home," Tai said. "Before all this." He waved his hand up. meaning the aliens above them. Me too. Mina packed up her music sheets. Do you work with my brother, Captain Kim? Sometimes. I'm usually at the main base, but I come here to help with the colony's systems. He hesitated. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you. There's something strange I noticed in my work. Something about patterns. Mina looked at him with interest. What kind of patterns? In the way the Vorn ships move, and in the signals we pick up from them. They're not random. They almost seem like... He struggled to find the right word. Music? Mina suggested. Tay's eyes widened. Yes, how did you know? Just a feeling. The way you described it. Mina felt a chill run down her spine. Can you show me these patterns? June was about to end his shift when the alarm sounded. Red lights flashed in the small base. What is it? He asked as Lieutenant Bay rushed in. The Vorn ships are moving, sir. All of them. June looked at the screen. The red dots were indeed moving, changing their positions around Earth. Are they attacking? Fear gripped his heart. No, sir. They're just rearranging. And they were. The hundreds of ships were moving into a new pattern. June watched, confused. Why would they change now after 3 months of the same formation? His tablet beeped. A message from Suji. Are you seeing this? The quantum receiver is going crazy. Before he could reply, another message came in. This one from Mina. June, I need to see you. Lieutenant Han from Communications showed me something important. It's about the aliens. I think I understand their pattern. June looked up at the screen again. The new formation of ships reminded him of something, but he couldn't place it. Like a picture he had seen before but couldn't remember where. Sir, Lieutenant Bay said, his voice strange. Look at this. He handed June a tablet. On it was a sound wave pattern. This is the background noise we've been picking up from the Vorn ships since they arrived. We thought it was just engine noise. June stared at the pattern. Then it hit him. He knew why the new formation looked familiar. It matched the sound wave exactly. The aliens weren't just blocking Earth. They were trying to tell us something. And Mina, his sister who could hear patterns no one else could, might be the key to understanding what they wanted. The meeting room on the moon base was small. Captain June Kim sat at the head of the table. To his right was his sister Mina. To his left was Lieutenant Tai Han from Communications. On a large screen on the wall, Dr. Suji Park watched from her lab on Earth. Show me again, June said. Lieutenant Han tapped on his tablet. The big screen split to show 2 images side by side. On the left was the pattern of Vorn ships around Earth. On the right was a sound wave. This sound wave is what we've been picking up from the Vorn ships for 3 months, Han explained. We thought it was just engine noise or shield vibrations. And now? June asked. Now we know it matches their formation exactly. When they changed positions yesterday, the sound wave changed too. Same pattern. Mina stood up and walked to the IDAR screen. She studied the sound wave with narrowed eyes. It's a chord, she said finally. A musical chord, but not one we use. It has 13 notes instead of our usual 7 or 12. Can you play it? Suji asked from the screen. Mina nodded. She went to a small keyboard in the corner of the room. Her fingers hovered over the keys for a moment, then she played. The sound was strange, not quite right to human ears, but not exactly wrong either. That's close, she said, but not exact. Our instruments aren't made for these sounds. Suji held up the small black stone with blue lights. The quantum receiver reacted when you played that, Mina. The lights pulsed. June leaned forward. What? Does this mean? Are they trying to talk to us with music? Maybe, Mina said. Or maybe music is their language. Lieutenant Han looked thoughtful. There's more. When I analyzed the patterns, I found something else. He tapped his tablet again. The screen changed to show a series of waves, one after another. These are the sound patterns from the past week. They repeat, but with small changes each time, like verses in a song, Mina finished for him. Her eyes were wide. They're sending the same message over and over, with small changes, like they're waiting for an answer. Or waiting for us to understand, Suji added. She was typing quickly on her computer. The quantum receiver doesn't just receive. I think it can transmit too. If we could send back the right pattern, we could talk to them, June said. The idea was both exciting and scary. Mina sat down at the keyboard again. I need to work on this. If I can figure out their musical structure, maybe I can compose a response. 3 days later, Mina had not left the music room in the moon colony. Empty coffee cups sat on top of the piano. Papers with notes and symbols covered the floor. Lieutenant Han brought her food and stayed to help, when he could. You need to rest, he told her on the 3rd day. Mina shook her head. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep, but they shone with excitement. I'm close, Tay. Listen. She played a sequence of notes. It sounded alien, but had a pattern to it. A strange beauty. This is what they're playing. And I think this... She played another sequence. This might be how we answer. How can you know that's right? Tay asked. I don't know for sure. But music has rules, even alien music. There are patterns. Math, physics. When they play this, she played the first sequence again. It's like they're asking a question. So my sequence is like an answer in the same language. Tay looked at her with wonder. You're amazing. Mina blushed a little. We need to tell June and Suji. In Suji's lab on Earth, the quantum receiver sat on a special table. Wires connected it to computers and other equipment. Suji had not slept much either. Her assistants worked around the clock, analyzing the device. It's definitely communication technology, she told June over video call. But it's more than that. The quantum patterns it creates affect physical space around it. I think this is related to how their shields work. How? June asked. Their shields aren't like our energy shields in science fiction. They're more like areas where physics works differently, where matter from outside can't exist. And I think it's all controlled by these quantum patterns, by their music. The door to Suji's lab opened. A tall man with gray hair walked in. Admiral Dae-Yoon, the head of Earth Defense Force. His face was hard as stone. Dr. Park, he said coldly. I hear you're wasting time studying alien music when you should be finding ways to destroy their ships. Suji stood straight. Admiral, this is how we will beat them. Their technology is based on these patterns. If we understand them, we might find a weakness. Nonsense. We need weapons, not concerts. The Admiral noticed June on the screen. Captain, Kim, your report said the aliens changed formation. Are they preparing to attack? We don't know, sir, June said. But we have reason to believe they're trying to communicate. Admiral Day made a dismissive sound. 3 months of blockade is all the communication I need. They're testing our defenses, waiting for us to weaken. Well, we won't. I've ordered the development of new missiles, bigger ones. We'll hit them, with everything we have. Admiral, please, Suji said. Give us more time, a few more days. You have 48 hours, Doctor. Then we do it my way. He turned and left the lab. Suji looked back at the screen, worried. June, we need to hurry. If the Admiral attacks the Vorn again. I know. We need to try Mina's idea. Can you get the receiver? Ready to transmit? Yes. Send me what she's composed. That night, June couldn't sleep. He stood at the window of his quarters, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there was the home of the Vorn. What were they like? Why had they come to Earth? Were they enemies or something else? His tablet beeped. A message from Mina. It's ready. The next day, they gathered in the communications center of the moon base. The room was filled with equipment. At its center was a modified version of Suji's quantum receiver, connected to Mina's keyboard. The plan is simple, June explained to the small team. Mina will play her response to the Vorn's message. The receiver will convert it to quantum patterns and transmit it. What if they take it as an attack? Lieutenant Bay asked nervously. Then, we're no worse off than before, June said. But I don't think they will. They've been waiting for us to answer. Mina sat at the keyboard. Her hands were steady now. Lieutenant Han stood beside her, ready to help with the equipment. We're ready on our end, Suji said from the screen. She was back in her lab, monitoring the quantum patterns. June took a deep breath. Mina, whenever you're ready. Mina nodded. She placed her fingers on the keys and began to play. The strange, beautiful melody filled the room. The quantum receiver's blue lights pulsed in rhythm with the music. On the main screen they could see the Vorn ships around Earth. Would they respond? Would they attack? Or would nothing happen at all? The music rose and fell, following the pattern. Mina had discovered a human answer to an alien question, and then something changed. The Vorn ships began to move. Everyone in the moon-based communications room held their breath. On the big screen, the red dots that marked the Vorn ships were moving. They shifted into a new pattern, different from before. What are they doing? Lieutenant Bay whispered. Mina stared at the screen, her fingers still on the keyboard. They're answering, she said softly. Lieutenant Han quickly recorded the new pattern and converted it to sound. He played it through the speakers. The melody was similar to what Mina had played, but with changes, like an echo with new words. They understood us, June said, amazed. They're talking back. The mood in the room changed from fear to excitement. People smiled and patted each other on the back. After 3 months of silence, contact had been made, but the celebration didn't last long. June's tablet beeped with an urgent message. It was from Suji. Admiral Day has moved up his timeline, she wrote. The missile launch is set for tomorrow at 600 hours. He won't listen to me. We need proof that we can communicate with the Vorn, or even better, that we can affect their shields. June showed the message to Mina and Lieutenant Han. Their faces grew serious again. We need to do more than just talk to them, June said. We need to find a way to get through their shields. Maybe we can, Mina said thoughtfully. Suji said, their shields work on quantum patterns, right? On music. What if certain sounds can disrupt those patterns? Lieutenant Han nodded slowly. Like how a high note can break glass if it hits the right frequency. Exactly, Mina said. We need to find the right note, or chord, that disrupts their shield frequency. June looked skeptical. How would we even test that? We can't just ask them to let us shoot at their shields, Mina thought for a moment. The quantum receiver. If it uses the same technology as their shields, maybe we can test our ideas on it first. In Suji's lab on Earth, the tension was high. Admiral Day had posted guards outside to observe her work. They watched everything she did and reported back to him. When June called with Mina's idea, Suji had to speak carefully. Yes, I think the device could be used that way, she said, aware of the guards listening. I'll set up some tests to measure its reactions to different inputs. She worked quickly, connecting the quantum receiver to more sensors. When one of the guards stepped out for a moment, she whispered to her assistant, "Send this data to the moon base right away. Mark it as routine scans." The assistant nodded and transferred the files, detailed scans of the quantum receiver's internal structure. On the moon, Mina and Lieutenant Han studied the scans from Suji. They worked through the night, matching sound patterns to the quantum structures. "Look at this," Han said, pointing to his screen. "When the pattern has these specific notes together, the quantum field becomes unstable, like it can't maintain its shape." Mina played the notes on her keyboard. The sound was harsh, dissonant. "It's like an anti-chord to their music," she said. They tested more combinations, recording which ones created the most disruption in the quantum patterns. By morning, they had a theory. A specific sequence of notes played in the right order might create enough disruption to temporarily weaken the Vorn shields. June called an emergency meeting. Suji joined by video from Earth. Her face looked tired but determined. "We need to test this on an actual Vorn ship," June said. "But to do that, we need to get close enough to transmit the disruptive patterns directly." "The Admiral's attack is happening in less than 24 hours, Suji reminded them. "Even if we convince him to try our way, there's no time to prepare a proper mission. Then we go unauthorized," June said. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. Going against direct orders, risking their careers, maybe even facing charges. "I'll do it," June continued. "I'll take a small ship close enough to test, Mina's disruption pattern. Not alone you won't, Mina said firmly. I need to be there to adjust the pattern if needed. No one else understands the music well enough. And you'll need me to operate the transmission equipment, Lieutenant Han added. June looked at them both. He wanted to protect his sister, to keep her safe on the moon. But he knew she was right. Without her, the mission would fail. All right, he said finally. The three of us will go. We'll take the scout ship Morning Calm. It's small and fast. What about authorization to leave the base? Lieutenant Bay asked, worried. I can help with that, Suji said from the screen. I'll request an urgent materials transfer from the moon to my lab. Captain Kim can be listed as the courier. And us? Mina asked. Listed as technical support, Suji said. It should work, as long as no one looks too closely. They spent the rest of the day preparing. The scout ship, Morning Calm, was loaded with equipment. Lieutenant Han modified the quantum receiver to send stronger signals. Mina practiced the disruption pattern until her fingers knew it by heart. That night, as they made final preparations, Mina found her brother alone in the ship's cockpit. Are you scared? She asked, sitting in the co-pilot's seat. June looked at her. His face was calm, but his eyes showed worry. Yes, he admitted. Not for myself. For you. For Earth. What if we're wrong? What if the Vorn see this as an attack? They won't, Mina said with confidence. They've been talking to us, waiting for us to understand. I believe they want communication, not war. I hope you're right. June checked the ship's systems one more time. Get some rest. We launch in 4 hours. At 0200 hours, the Morning Calm quietly detached from the moon base. Its official flight plan showed it heading for Earth, to Suji's lab. But once clear of the base, June changed course. They flew toward the Vorn blockade. The small ship had good stealth systems, but they wouldn't hide it forever. They needed to get close to one Vorn ship, test the disruption pattern, and get proof it worked, all before Admiral Day launched his missiles at 600 hours. As they approached the blockade, they saw the Vorn ships up close for the first time. They were massive dark shapes against the stars. Beautiful and terrifying. Picking up their shield frequencies, Lieutenant Han reported from his station. They're strong. Wait. He looked up, surprised. They're changing. The ships are adjusting. Their shields. Did they detect us? June asked, ready to turn the ship around. I don't think so, Han said. It's like they're tuning them, making them clearer for us to read. Mina looked out at the alien ships. They know we're coming, she said. They're not trying to stop us. They're helping us. How is that possible? June asked. I don't know, but I'm sure of it. Mina moved to her station where the modified keyboard was set up. I'm ready? June took a deep breath and guided the ship closer to the nearest Vorn vessel. It loomed above them, impossibly big. Now, Mina, he said. Play the pattern. Mina placed her hands on the keyboard. The future of Earth might depend on what happened next. Mina's fingers moved across the keyboard. The sound filled the small ship, strange and beautiful. Lieutenant Han watched his screens as the signal went out, carried by the modified quantum receiver. Signal is transmitting, he reported. Full strength. June kept the ship steady, just 500 meters from the massive Vorn vessel. From this close, it looked like a mountain floating in space. Its dark surface had patterns of light running through it like blue rivers on black stone. Any effect? June asked, his voice tense. Han shook his head. Nothing yet. The Vorn shields are still at full strength. Mina kept playing, following the pattern they had worked out, but after 2 minutes nothing had changed. The alien shields remained strong. It's not working, she said, her voice showing her disappointment. June checked the time. 0345 hours. Less than 3 hours until Admiral Day's missiles would launch. Try something else, he urged. Another pattern. Mina hesitated, then nodded. She changed the notes, trying a different combination. Still nothing happened. Lieutenant Han's console beeped. Captain, we have a problem. 2 moon-based security ships are heading this way. They must have realized we changed course. How long? Until they reach us? June asked. 20 minutes, maybe less. Mina looked at her brother, worry in her eyes. What do we do? June thought quickly. We have one more try. Then we have to go. Mina turned back to the keyboard. Her mind raced. Why wasn't it working? The patterns had disrupted the quantum receiver in the tests. What was different now? Then she realized something. The tests were too controlled, she said. Too perfect. Real music isn't perfect. It has feeling, changes, surprises. She looked up at June. I need to play from the heart, not just follow the pattern. June nodded. Do it. Mina closed her eyes. She thought of Earth, of home, of the fear when the aliens arrived, and the hope when they first responded to her music. She began to play. This time she didn't follow the written pattern exactly. She added her own feeling to it, let the music flow naturally. It was still based on the disruption pattern, but now it had life. It had humanity in it. For a minute, nothing changed. Then Lieutenant Han suddenly sat up straight. Something's happening. The shield frequencies are shifting. June looked out at the Vorn ship. The blue lights on its surface were flickering. The shield is weakening, Han said, excitement in his voice. Not failing completely, but definitely weaker. It's working. Mina kept playing, lost in the music. She didn't see the message that appeared on Han's screen. He read it, his eyes growing. Wide, Captain, he said, his voice strange. The Vorn ship is sending us a direct communication request. June stared at him. What? They want to talk to us? Yes, sir. Text only. Accept it, June ordered. Han pressed a button. Words appeared on his screen, in perfect English. The music. Is correct, you have knocked. We will answer. Stop the attack. Mina's hands froze on the keyboard. She looked at the message in wonder. They know about the missile attack, June said. How? Before anyone could answer, Han's console beeped again. Captain, the security ships are getting closer. We need to leave now if we want to avoid capture. June made a quick decision. Send a reply. Tell them we're trying to stop the attack, but we need their help. Han typed the message and sent it. The response came almost instantly. We will help. Go now, return to Moon. Bring the music maker. They mean you, Mina, June said. Mina nodded, still stunned by what was happening. June turned the ship around. Lieutenant Han, send all our data to Dr. Park. Everything we recorded. The shield disruption, the communication, she needs to show it to Admiral Day. Yes, sir, Han said, already sending the files. The morning calm raced back toward the Moon, pushing its engines to full speed. Behind them, the Vorn ship remained in position, its lights now pulsing in a steady rhythm. On Earth, Suji received the data from the morning calm. She worked quickly, preparing a presentation for Admiral Day. Time was running short. The missile launch was scheduled for 0600 hours, just over 2 hours away. The guards outside her lab watched her closely, but she ignored them. This was too important. At 0415 hours, she sent an urgent message to Admiral Day. Must speak with you immediately. Breakthrough with Vorn. Evidence of communication. 10 long minutes passed before the Admiral replied. Coming to lab. This better be worth it. Suji prepared everything. The evidence was strong. Recordings of the shield disruption, the direct message from the Vorn ship. But would it be enough to convince the Admiral? At 0445 hours, Admiral Day walked into the lab. His face was like stone. Dr. Park, he said coldly. I understand your friends took an unauthorized trip to the Vorn blockade. Yes, Admiral, Suji admitted. And they made contact. Real contact. Look at this. She showed him everything. The musical, patterns, the shield disruption, the direct message from the Vorn. The Admiral watched in silence. When it was over, he simply asked, What do they want? To talk, Suji said. They've been trying to talk to us for 3 months. The blockade wasn't an attack, I think it was a way to get our attention. And the shield weakness, the disruption, they allowed it to happen. They helped it happen. They wanted us to find a way to communicate. Admiral Day frowned. This could be a trick, a way to stop our attack so they can attack first. Or it could be our best chance for peace, Suji argued. Admiral, please, delay the missile launch just for a day. Let us try to talk to them. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then he took out his tablet and pressed a few buttons. The launch is delayed for 24 hours, he said finally. You have until then to prove these aliens aren't a threat. On the moon, the morning calm landed at the base at 05:10 hours. Security officers were waiting for them. Captain June Kim, Mina, and Lieutenant Han were immediately taken into custody for disobeying orders. But as they were being led away, June's tablet beeped with a message from Suji. Launch delayed. Admiral convinced to wait. Good work. June showed the message to Mina and Han. They smiled despite their situation. They had bought Earth some time. Then, at exactly 0600 hours, when the missiles would have launched, something unexpected happened. Every screen, every tablet, every communication device on the moon base suddenly showed the same message. We come in peace. The music maker has opened the way. We wish to meet. And below the message was an image, a single Vorn ship moving away from the blockade, heading toward the moon. The moon base was in chaos. Alarms sounded as the Vorn ship approached. People ran to their stations, security forces prepared for possible attack. But in the base commander's office, a different scene played out. Captain June Kim, Mina, and Lieutenant Han stood before Commander Lee, who looked both angry and confused. You three disobeyed direct orders, Commander Lee said. Took a ship without proper clearance, approached the enemy blockade. He paused, looking at the message still displayed on his screen, and somehow got the aliens to talk to us. They're not enemies, sir, Mina said quietly. They never were. Before Commander Lee could respond, Admiral Day entered the room. Everyone stood straighter. The Admiral's face was grim. The Vorn ship will reach the moon in 30 minutes, he announced. They're requesting permission to send a representative to meet with us. He looked at Mina. Specifically to meet with you, Miss Kim. Mina's eyes widened. Me? Yes. They call you the music maker. The Admiral didn't look happy about this. I've agreed to the meeting under strict security protocols. It will take place in Hangar 7. Security teams will be present at all times. Admiral, June started to protest, but Admiral Day cut him off. This isn't a debate, Captain. Your sister made contact, so she'll be there. So will you and Lieutenant Han, since you're part of this situation. Dr. Park is on her way from Earth now. Commander Lee looked nervous. Sir, is this wise? Letting an alien onto our base? Probably not, Admiral Day admitted. But we need to know what they want. And if they try anything... He didn't finish the sentence, but everyone understood. The military was ready to fight if needed. Hangar 7 was the largest space in the moon base. It had been cleared of all ships and equipment. In the center was a single table with chairs. Around the edges of the room, security officers stood with weapons ready. June, Mina, Lieutenant Han, and Dr. Suji waited at the table. Suji had arrived just minutes earlier, rushing from the shuttle that brought her from Earth. Are you okay? She asked Mina, hugging her friend. Mina nodded. Just nervous. What do you say to an alien? Hello would be a good start, Suji said with a small smile. Admiral Day stood nearby, watching the hangar doors. Those doors would open to the airlock where the Vorn representative would enter. At exactly the time the Vorn had specified, a light above the airlock turned green. The inner door was opening. Everyone in the room held their breath. The security officers raised their weapons slightly. Through the door came a figure. It walked slowly, carefully. It was not what anyone expected. The Vorn was tall and slender, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer like water. It had no hair, and its face had large, dark eyes that took up much of its head. But most surprising were the structures that grew from where ears would be on a human. They looked like delicate fans or shells. made of thin, translucent material. It wore a simple robe of silvery material. In its hands, it carried something that looked like a small harp. The room was completely silent as the Vorn walked to the table. It stopped, looking at each human in turn. When its eyes met Mina's, it made a small bowing motion. "Music maker," it said. Its voice was soft and melodic, with an accent that made the words flow like water. "I am Eol. Thank you for your knock." Mina stood up, returning the small bow. "I am Mina Kim. This is my brother Jun, our friends, Suji and Tai." She hesitated, then added, "Welcome to the moon." Admiral Day stepped forward. "I am Admiral Day, Yoon, commander of Earth's defense forces. Why have you blockaded our planet? What do you want from us?" Eol turned to the Admiral. The fan-like structures on its head vibrated slightly. "We did not blockade. We waited, listened." It gestured to its head structures. "We hear through these. We speak through music. For 3 of your months we listened for music from your world." "You could have just asked," Admiral Day said, still suspicious. Eol made a sound like gentle chimes. It took a moment for the humans to realize it was laughing. "We tried. Your machines didn't understand. Your radios, your signals, and they don't carry true music, only data." It turned back to Mina. "Until you played. You made real music. Music with feeling." Mina looked surprised. "You heard me play on the moon colony?" "Yes. Faintly, then stronger, when you sent your message to our ships. That's when we knew. Humans can speak the true language." Lieutenant Han leaned forward. "Is that why your ships changed formation? You were trying to respond to our music?" "Yes. We speak through patterns, sound patterns, light patterns, movement patterns. All are music to us." Suji's eyes lit up with understanding. "That's why your shields work the way they do. They're musical patterns too, aren't they?" Eol nodded. "Yes. All our technology is based on harmonic patterns, what you call quantum patterns." Admiral Day was still not convinced. "If you came in peace, why not approach our leaders directly? Why surround our planet with warships?" Eol's head fans quivered. "Not warships, research vessels, study ships. We have visited many worlds, many species. Most are..." It paused, searching for the right word. "Most are harmonically flat. They cannot hear or create the complex patterns that are the basis of life." It turned to Mina again. "But humans, you have harmonic intelligence. You create music with complexity and feeling. This is rare and precious in the galaxy." Mina smiled. "So you came all this way to find out if we could make good music?" "Yes," Eol said simply. "Music is life. Music is how we build our society, our technology, our relationships. Species that understand music can understand us." The room was quiet as everyone took in this information. Finally, Admiral Day spoke again. "What happens now?" Eol placed its harp-like instrument on the table. "Now we offer alliance, friendship, exchange of knowledge. Humans can help us communicate with other species. We can help humans understand the music of the universe." Jun looked at his sister, then at Suji and Han. They had been right all along. The Vorn weren't invaders. They were explorers, seekers of connection. "Will you remove your ships from around Earth?" Admiral Day asked. "Yes. The listening is complete. The conversation has begun." Eol made another small bow. "We would like to establish proper diplomatic relations and..." It looked at Mina again. "We would be honored if the music maker would help us learn human music while we teach you ours." Mina smiled. "I would like that very much." Eol picked up its instrument and played a short, beautiful melody. "This is the sound of new friendship in our language." Without hesitation, Mina went to the small keyboard that had been set up in the hangar. She played a melody in response, simple, hopeful, welcoming. Eol's head fans vibrated with pleasure. "You understand already?" Admiral Day watched this exchange with mixed feelings. The military man in him was still cautious, but even he could see that something remarkable was happening. The first true connection between humans and an alien species. As Mina and Eel continued to exchange musical phrases, the mood in the hangar changed. Security officers lowered their weapons. People relaxed. Some even smiled. Earth had faced what seemed like a threat, a blockade by alien warships, but it wasn't a blockade at all. It was a test, a waiting, and all it took to open the door to the stars was a human who knew how to knock with music.